This is Alan Butler with Rolling Ready, here with a new video series we're calling Rolling Ready Ride-Alongs. This is where we take your adventure-based vehicle out for a ride-along. For this episode, I'm going to travel back in time and visit a vehicle whose life was cut short as a result of America's recession. So without further ado, let's get this ride-along started with a 2009 Hummer H3T Alpha. This truck here today is a 2009 Hummer H3T Alpha. This is not your standard Hummer H3 that you're used to. No, it's not. This does not have that inline 5-cylinder that's had problems in the past. This one came stock from the factory with a 5.3 liter V8. So before we dive into all the modifications that this owner put into this truck, we're going to talk about the stock specifications and characteristics first. Now, GM's Hummer lineup included the H2 and H3 in various configurations. When people think of the H3 though, they usually associate it with the unremarkable inline 5-cylinder borrowed from the Chevy Colorado. It wasn't unless you stepped up to the Alpha that the customer was treated to the 5.3 liter Vortec V8. Now, although these numbers are not anything to wink at these days, at the time the V8 was rated for 300 horsepower and 320 foot-pounds of torque. The tow and payload ratings are not much better at 5,900 pounds for towing and a max payload of 1,031 pounds. Of course, these numbers are not mind-blowing by today's standards, but I can only imagine how a more modernized version of this truck would be today. Off-road equipment included quite a few goodies. A 2-speed electronically controlled full-time 4-wheel drive, 4 skid plates, hill start assist, traction control, electronic stability control, and 3 recovery hooks. But wait, there's more. A 33.1:1 crawl ratio, electronic front and rear locking diffs, off-road tuned shocks, and 33-inch off-road tires. Equipped with 33-inch off-road tires, the H3 got 10.2 inches of ground clearance, a 38.7 degree approach angle, a 30.6 departure angle, and 20.2 degree breakover angle. And if you're looking to find one of these H3T Alphas today, good luck. GM only made 369 H3T Alphas in 2009 and 40 in 2010 for the US market. Now that we got the stock characteristics and specifications knocked out of the way, there is quite an interesting story that goes with this particular Hummer H3T Alpha. And to tell that story, we're going to talk about all the modifications that's been done to this, because it's very unique. So first of all, this is a 37-inch Gentle Grabber ATX wrapped around a 17-inch Black Rhino Armory rim with the Hummer center cap, so you know it's rolling on a Hummer. Now, I told you that this Hummer H3T Alpha has a very interesting story. It just didn't happen to be modified overnight. It took a lot of hard work and research to get it to where it is today. For example, this Rancho lift, it's a 4-inch Rancho lift. It's got 5100 Bilstein shocks on it. But to get on this truck, the owner had to buy a whole nother truck. A regular Hummer H3, which was actually the demo vehicle for Rancho, hence the red paint on the lift. So he bought that truck, disassembled the front suspension, put it on the front of here, took the stock front suspension off of this, put it on the H3, and sold that regular H3 down the road, and now he's able to run these 37-inch tires on this 4-inch lift. The lights have also been modified with LED projector headlights and LED fog lights. Now here's what's really cool. Check out this winch. Super clean look. It's a Schmitty-built 10,000-pound winch with, of course, the factory 55 fairlead. So back when the engineers were designing this vehicle originally, they actually put a lot of thought into it. For instance, we already talked about how this Hummer H3T Alpha comes with front and rear lockers. But beyond that, up top, they had off-road lights above the window. Now, since then, the owners upgraded those lights with LED lights, but when they came stock with these light covers that say Hummer on them. That's an awesome feature. Now, you're looking at this snorkel. Does this snorkel come stock? No, this is an aftermarket upgrade that the owner did. Another really useful aftermarket upgrade that we're talking about, and you've seen one of our videos on it, these rock rails. These are Rocky Road rock rails. They're frame mounted and they are stout and they are stiff, and I can tell you that these ones can take a hit just by looking at them. Good steel on them. Up top, a Go Rhino roof rack. This thing's like Overland setup. It's ready to go. So here's where this Hummer is different from the others. This is where it gets the T, the truck bed. I'm in the bed of the truck. And from the stock configuration, it came with a composite bed, a very utilitarian design with different storage compartments. And if you were to buy this back in the day, GM had all kinds of accessories that you could buy for the truck. If you wanted to load bikes in the back or different items, it had some support there, different accessories that you could get from the factory. Now the back of this truck has a lot of aftermarket upgrades, starting with this Cali Rays LED rack here in the back. Now, you may see Cali Rays LED products primarily in the back of Toyotas, Toyota Tacomas, but the owner of this truck went down to Cali Rays LED, said, hey, can you guys help me out? And they hooked him up by building custom brackets so he can fit it in the back of his Hummer. And it's awesome because he's got RotopaX 4-gallon fuel can on this side. He mounted a rigid light on the back. He's got a washing station, and he's able to mount these traction control devices here on the side of the truck. And behind me, you'll find a standard Highlift Jack with the base mounted on the stock rails that came with this Hummer H3T. This isn't a full comprehensive review. This is just a little test drive, a little ride along. You know, this guy was gracious enough to let us borrow his vehicle to check it out. I met him at a local Jeep event, off-road event, and I just had to talk to him. And he had just the most interesting story about how he got it. He had to go to Texas to get this, so you can tell he really wanted it coming from California. And then bought a whole nother H3 just to get the off-road lift, the Rancho lift that was on it, and then put it on this thing. So just incredible. The enthusiasts that are out there that are willing to do these things to keep this brand alive, even though it died in 2010, there's still people pumping on the chest of this Hummer, keeping her alive. So, and I think it should come back to life. You know, if you trace a lineage back, Hummer and Jeep, they all go back to the Willies. You know, they're all one family. Bring it back. It's not copying anybody else, it's just more options. This is a different way of doing things. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, these 37s make it sure easy to go over a bunch of stuff. Stock, this Hummer H3T came with 33s, and I think other Hummers came out with like a 285 or 275, so you're looking at like a 32-inch tire option there. Big steep climb. Yeah, this thing's totally ready for the rough stuff. I wouldn't say it's, you know, hardcore rock crawling, but it can handle its own for sure. It can totally handle its own for sure. Suspension's doing real good. I mean, we're not mobbing it like we're out in the open desert, but you know, we're cruising right along. Definitely plenty of ruts. Tires are fully inflated, but even still, suspension's doing well. Steering's on point. I think that's really the story behind this is, where is this? Why isn't it here today? Why is this not on the lot at a dealership today? That's the question. And don't tell me that the Gladiator's out there. No. This can be out there too. Move over. This thing needs a spot on a dealership lot. You just got done watching the very first episode of a series we're calling Rolling Ready Ride-Alongs, and I couldn't think of a better vehicle to be the very first vehicle on this series, this Alpha H3T with the V8. Anyhow, I gotta give a big shout out to the owner of this truck for teaching me about it, telling me about the story behind it, because it really does have a rich story behind it. And I gotta give him a shout out on Instagram, Alpha_H3T. He told me that if you have any questions, any detailed questions about his modifications, or you got questions about your Hummer H3, hit him up on Instagram. We have a link there at the bottom of the video, so check it out if you want to get to his Instagram account. Now, another thing that he's done is on the back of the front seats, there's these seat pockets. They're kind of webbed, and I guess the stock configuration, the clips fall out all the time. Well, in his genius, he has designed, and he has them for sale, and again, you can hit him up at his Instagram, these new clips that he's made, and he'll sell them to you, and they work like a charm. So hit him up for one of these if you're looking for some new seat clips for the back seats of your H3. Now, that's gonna be it for this video. I really appreciate you watching. Make sure to support Rolling Ready. See us on Instagram and Facebook and on YouTube. I'm Alan Butler. Thanks for watching.